Hi there, everyone. Thanks very much for coming in and welcome to Paranormal and History's interview with the entire UK Haunted Hunts team. Thanks very much for coming in, guys. I believe this is only the second time we've all been together in an interview, but it's a major honour for us. I know, Danny, we've seen you a few times in the past, but we've never actually thought we'd get you all together, to capture you all together in the one live, so that's another one under our belt as well. So just starting with left to right, how are we doing, folks? That was Charlie and Rocks.
We're all right. Not too bad.
Yeah, I'm very good. Just powering through, trying to get everything sorted early on for preparations for this year.
And I'm in the middle of trying to move house.
Oh, nice.
You're trying to move house. Not always out an ideal time to move house.
Really.
And what were you, Emma?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Plodding on.
Sorry you're kind of stuck in the bottom there, It was me. I know you're kind of stuck in the bottom out of the way. So see, we've had Danny on before talking about Pendle Hill. I want to congratulate you on your season 3, Pendle Hill. Absolutely, I've followed you since day one, basically season 1. But Pendle Hill was just, as I said to Danny, amazing. It blew the rest of them out of water. I've always been drawn to Pendle Hill as well. It's always, even though we're from Scotland, it's always fascinated me, above all the other kind of witch trials that took place over the centuries. Pendle Hill, I think, has always been the biggest attraction for me. So we'll start with Becky. How did you feel, Becky, when you found out you'd be going to Pendle? I know has a big pull for you.
I was, I think, beyond excited. I don't think it's not a secret that Dan and I have had quite an obsession with Pendle Hill for a very, very long time, since we were kids, really. And I also have a bit of a weird fascination with witches. I've collected witches and artifacts to do with witches for years and years and years. So, people refer to a paranormal bucket list, and Pendle was very much on my paranormal bucket list. So that's a big tick now that we've done it.
And when you got there, did you have the kind of same kind of feeling as you expected you would have, or was it more intense? Because as I said to Danny last time he was in, even watching on the TV, you get a kind of very, an atmosphere just coming over the TV. What was the atmosphere for you?
Yeah, I think we'd visited Pendle a number of times as kids, and then I'd gone back a bit in my 20s, and so I knew the place had atmosphere, but the actual investigations and what we went through was probably nothing like what I thought was going to happen. It was quite staggering what we caught and the emotions that we went through whilst we were there. And it was, without a shadow of a doubt, it was probably one of the best journeys that we've had as a team during the weeks filming up there.
It was. I've watched season 3 now about 4 or 5 times, and I did. That's the thing I liked about season 3, that you kind of took us on the journey with you. You get a lot of these shows that they just kind of show you what's happening, the investigation. But the way that you all done it, it was as if you took us on the journey with you from day one to winding it all up at the end of it, and it was quite intense. What were you, Emma? How did you feel about the whole, when you found out you were heading to Pendle?
I was really excited. Quite intrigued, to be honest. It's fantastic for any paranormal team to be able to investigate such a fantastic place with all that history. But I'm not going to lie, I think I underestimated it quite a lot. I didn't quite expect it to feel as atmospheric as it did. It was almost, as soon as you drive into Pendle, you almost feel surrounded and a bit nervous, and it's going to happen. But then you could do a full investigation and drive out of the area, and it was almost like that didn't happen, and you were back in normal time zones. And it was really strange, but it was a fantastic place. fantastic place.
So was it? I know I know you like your food. You're in season 2 Chester. I was just saying that to the girls before we came on. I remember the bit where you ran out the takeaway. I think
Yep.
it was chips and cheese or something you had. Is that right?
It was. Yeah.
And you know, you were like a kid in a candy shop running out. You know, with your wee bag holding it up. I do remember stuff. And was there many takeaways for you in Pendle?
No, I was actually really disappointed with the lack of food places in Pendle. I think we managed one takeaway, but I'm not fussy, but it just wasn't the same. It just wasn't the same.
I think that it was the most dialed phone number of the week. That the takeaway.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Always hungry.
Uber have never been so busy when Emma was in Pendle Hill. sorry, dog, but I remember that. You know, I thought, bless you with your wee bag, with your chips and cheese. I thought she's happy. So, Charlie Rocks, how did you feel when you found out that you were heading off to Pendle?
I think when we found out, I really expected to get what we did get. I think we could about it in the house, didn't we? And obviously, we done our research and all that, and hear what stories, but I don't think we were prepared for what happened. Even when we went back to the hotel room, it's like we had to catch ourselves and think, what did actually just happen, or did we imagine it? And it was mind blowing. Night after night after night, it was getting better and better. It was because I think we didn't really
expect to get much. You know what I mean? You think of Pendle, everybody does Pendle Hill. Outside, you hear the stories of like the paranormal foreigners that you around, and we did get that sense of fear in every location we went.
That happened in our heads.
But it was like the spirit was following us everywhere we went. We were getting the activity, but it was getting better and better. So it was just the case of unexpected, but we got the unexpected, if you get what I mean. It was great evidence that we got there. And like the team, what you don't see behind the scenes as well, we had such a laugh, and it was a fantastic as well.
You did have such a laugh as I seen. It was kind of like a journey for you. You took us on the journey as well, and you can see that. You know, you were there to investigate, you know, and you were serious with it. But at the same time, excuse me, you had a laugh with it. You know, you enjoyed what you were doing, and there was quite a few moments. I remember one memorable one, Danny, where I think it was a sausage in the hotel room, but we won't go into that one. You know. I do need to ask you guys, you know, with all due respect, who invented the dancing in the car? Danny?
Not. It's not me.
I think Danny just went away with that one, didn't we, Dan? It was just kind of like, yeah, he was getting excited, so it was just like, hit the music in.
It was pure rocking out in the back of the car.
Aye. Middle of the afternoon.
You do tend to lose your mind a little bit part way through the week.
Yeah.
But it was good because I think everybody got to see the normal side of these. I'm normal people, you know, what they've accomplished is amazing. But the other side of the coin is that these are just normal people at the end of the day. You've got lives, you know, travelling rocks, you've got your family, your kids and what have you. Emma, you've got your horses. I know you're a big horse fan. Becky, you'd move house, and Danny's just Danny, basically, isn't he? You know, what I do everything. So it was good to show the other side to you, the normal human, everyday side to you, kind of thing. But Sam's got a couple of questions for you. I'll let her, so's I'm not doing all the yakking, I'll let Sam ask you a couple of questions to whoever she wants to come to.
In general, it's for all of yous because you were all there. But see, when you were at Lower Wellhead Farm and you seen the apparition of the locked off camera. What did you think when you reviewed the footage and you saw it?
Wow. You know, I was actually sat there watching the edit and watching the review of the Locked Off camera. And, you know, Charlie and Rox had done such a big job of watching it all week while we were at Pendle. But because that was our last investigation, we didn't get to review it until we got home. And it was a long process, really, because we got home, we recovered, you know, we ate some food, stuff like that, got back to normal life, and then we got back in to watch the edit the following week. And it was that week that I stumbled across this incredible capture, and it was just one of the most immense things I've ever seen in my life. And you know, you can speak to the guys. I was right on the phone to all of them straight away. You know, I think it's Charlie and Rox who I actually spoke to first, and I was almost in tears one night, guys.
Yeah, it was like he rang me and he said, "You're never going to guess what won the lottery," and you could hear like the excitement. Yeah, it was like a kid at Christmas. You'll never fucking guess what I just caught. We just caught an apparition on a Locked Off camera walking the this day. I was like, "You're joking." The actual footage was mad. And we watched it 20 times. But yeah, he was like a kid at Christmas about a 6-year-old dancing around screaming.
I know. And then obviously, Beck, you got a chance to see it, and then you were actually in work, weren't you, when I sent it? But you know, you guys were just absolutely gobsmacked, weren't you?
Yeah. I think it was just.
I was sat in the car park screaming.
It was like the icing on the cake, wasn't it? Because like the week that we'd been there, it was just the activity that was building, and just to get that captured and locked up. Yeah, and it was just like, you know what I mean? Like it's one of them lifetime experiences.
It was weird as well because I don't think like we were so amazed when we got to find out that we were actually doing Lower Wellhead Farm. You know, it's this big iconic location, but the actual investigation itself, it wasn't anywhere near as active as the likes of Sadler's Farm. So we came away from it, and I know, Charlie, you had a bit of a funny turn. We did witness some weird stuff going on in there, and you know, you and I saw someone outside the conservatory, didn't we? But we come away from it slightly disappointed that we didn't catch that much. And then obviously when we found it on the Locked Off camera, it was just, wow. It's like everything happens for a reason.
It's quite clear. Like when you see it, when you actually look at it, and it's quite tall.
Yeah.
It's quite a big figure. So it's really good. Yeah. Going on from what you were saying about Sadler's Farm. Sorry, Becky.
I was just going to say that I think what was so amazing was that when we were actually investigating, all we kept seeing the whole time that we were upstairs was shadows moving and the feeling that something was moving around on those corridors. And then to actually capture the apparition just kind of backed up what we've been saying the whole night, that we felt like we were seeing things move out the corner of our eye. And it just goes to show that, you know, sometimes when you're on an investigation, you think, oh my God, is it my eyes playing tricks on me? I'm tired, it's the middle of the night, you know, we're dark and the shadows. But actually it just backed up that we had been seeing things, we had been feeling things on that corridor.
It's amazing how your mind does play tricks on you. You think you see something like you said, and then you're like, maybe I didn't see that, but that just clarifies it. Obviously, with catching it on the camera as well, and it's an amazing find. And I kept rewinding, and watching it again, and it's so clear.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. Going back to what you were saying about Sadler's Farm, obviously that was very, very intense in Sadler's Farm, and it was the activity was quite high.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the activity that you witnessed there, and what did you think about your findings?
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
That's the only... I think I was.
It takes a lot to top that.
Yeah, I think I was more shocked that we've been trying as a group in that session to sort of bring some activity. And we had a few little things, but nothing major. And then when we got the voices, it was almost like, oh my God, they know we're here. They're communicating with us, but they're talking about us, and they can obviously see what we are and what we're doing, but they won't talk with. But they want to talk about us, and it was that's probably some of the most mind blowing stuff I've ever come across.
It's when it came out and says to you, take them, and it's like, whoa, take them where?
I think it all started that night with the Estes method that Beck and Rox were doing upstairs.
That's great.
That's where it was, watching that back, because obviously Charlie was up in the loft, me and Em were in the lounge, so we had no idea what Beck and Rox were witnessing at that point. It was only when we sort of were switching scenes round that those two said we've just had an amazing Estes method. But yeah, it just seemed to be one of them investigations where it was just a sudden huge wave of activity, and I think it'll stay with us forever, won't it, guys?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
It was really good. Even when you heard like the dog sniffing and things at the top of the stairs, and like saying wolf and stuff, and then all the wolf pictures on the walls, and then obviously Danny, you were affected quite badly.
Yeah, well, the wolf and the dog sniffing, that was at Lower Wellhead Farm.
Lower Well.
Yeah,
that's right.
Sadler's Farm. I mean, that moment that Charlie and Beck carried me out, that was. It was so weird, and we wanted to include in the behind the scenes episode a little bit further on after what happened when I got dragged out, because in the series you see it cut at that moment, but in the behind the scenes episode you sort of see the aftermath of what happened when Charlie, Rox and Emma, they sit down and try and carry on the Introvox session while Beck and I and the crew are actually outside. And Charlie, Rox and Em, you guys still felt like there was something there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, just after, when we carried on, you were outside. I think it was Emma, you saw behind the chair, and it was like a big black mass. I think was it you, Emma?
We all seen something walking on the living.
But going back to where Dan had that moment, we never seen Dan like that. Now, don't get me wrong, when nights and the stuff that does sometimes shock us and scare us, Dan's like a big girl. he gets a bit I've seen him emotional like that. So for us, it was quite a shock seeing Dan like that, because he lifts up his chin and carries on. But to see him break down, it wasn't nice to see him break down, and that was when he was about that. It really affected him. You know what I mean?
Do you think you were affected by something that was in the house?
Yeah, I mean, at first, I didn't want to believe that was the case. I just thought it was a case of me being absolutely shattered from such a heavy week. But, looking back at it now, it's kind of similar to what happened at Poole Park Asylum in Series 1, where these unexplainable things just happen for no reason, and really unexpectedly as well.
What was your reasoning for, like the following day you wanted to be like left yourself, you didn't want to see anybody, but you took yourself off into the woods? Do you think that you were influenced to go into the woods, or was that just something you had set in your own mind that you were going into the woods and that was that?
It's really difficult to explain, because after the investigation, when we got home, I spoke to some of the crew that week, and I said, why the hell did I do that? That was such a stupid thing to do, because anything could have happened. And, if I'd have tripped and broke my leg or something, it was a really stupid decision for me to make. But all I can say is that I was so focused on wanting to get answers and build the story that I just wanted to carry on. And, I wanted these guys to have a break, but then I should have took into consideration my own mental health at the same time, and should have gone with those into town and had a coffee and stuff and got away from Pendle. But I mean, these guys will agree with me. The atmosphere sucks you in.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
You can see that
more than any of us. I mean, like I've never seen Danny be affected the way that he got affected at Sadler's, and I was scared because I'd not seen him like that. And then he was just. I think I'm fairly sure I called you a weirdo at some point the next day because you were just so odd. Behaving was odd, and I just like I couldn't get through to him about just taking a break and coming with us and don't go off by your own. But he was just adamant. He was so focused. There was just no talking to him. So yeah, I think I called you a weirdo.
Yeah.
I mean, I
you
thought
could
that
actually
was
see
quite...
how you could
Sorry,
see
Sam.
how concerned you were, Becky, because obviously you knew that wasn't quite him, and you walked back into the room where the rest of the guys were, and you're like, "She's just told me to leave him alone. What's that about, weirdo?" It's just the way you came out with it. It was like, wow.
I know
Well, when
Shelley.
we had to take him out of Sadler's, not everybody knows that Dan and I are actually brother and sister. So I know him probably better than anybody. And when we had to take him out of Sadler's, and you didn't see this on camera, but he was sobbing. He was absolutely sobbing, and he was petrified. And I just remember having him outside, and I had him kind of held up against the wall, and the crew came out, and he was just begging me to not let him go back into that house. Please don't make me go back in that house. Please don't make me go back. And it was like he was a child all over again. And I left him with the crew, and at that point I was just like, we're getting out of here, we're done. Left him with the crew, looking after him. I went inside and got the others. I just said, that's it, we're done. And it was just, it definitely had a lasting impact on him, that place.
Do you think that... Oh, sorry,
go on.
Do you think then that you were maybe picking up on the energy or a spirit from back in the years?
Yeah,
do you think that?
Yeah, really interesting. I was just about to say, I've come up with a theory since that if Sadler's Farm was indeed the site of Malcolm Tower, was I feeling the residual sort of emotions of one of the children? So, young Alison, something like that. I can't put my finger on it, but if there was a big meeting and there was stuff going on inside Malkin Tower that wasn't really good stuff going on, if those accused were dabbling in the dark arts in any way, was I sort of feeling the pressure like one of the small children would have felt and wanted to get out of there, not comfortable and scared about what was going on? It is possible.
That's what I was thinking. But I've been watching it again and again and again, and I'm thinking to myself, with the different kind of pieces of evidence you were getting, like Take Them, I Remember You, and Altar, and then obviously the next day you were away to the woods. Now, to me, this is just my opinion, but it seemed like through the voice box you had like a younger voice, and then the adult voice saying, what was it they said, get out, or it said your name. The younger one said your name, Daniel, and then it said you, and then the other ones, was it get out or get thee?
Oh, in the woods, yeah.
And it was like, to me that felt like you had actually got Alice and Demdike. That's to me what I think. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, it was. I don't know really. Those woods were really, really strange. And when I told the guys when I got back to the hotel that what happened, they were all really intrigued about going that night. Now I know Em has a massive fear about woods anyway.
Yeah, horrible place.
It was weird, wasn't it, that night, guys?
Yeah.
it was almost like when we were there investigating as well, it was like you were seeing things move all around you. And I think it was me and you, wasn't it? And I think we were noticing that we could hear things. Now, obviously, you don't know what the animals, but it was just that atmosphere that there was something there watching you and like surrounding you and moving. It's just like you were catching it in the corner of your eye. But it was a weird night.
We've got a few questions lined up for you guys in chat. The first one has got to go to Danny. It's for Andy Murphy. Did you pay for the bedside table? He's asking.
No, I fixed it.
That still makes
TV gold.
His face when you watch it in slow motion. Gets time.
It was funny. It was funny. The next one's for Andy as well. I think
It
Emma.
was one of the highlights.
But did you pay for it? Did they put stick on your bill? You know.
No, I fixed it.
You think it was demolished? How did you fix it? It was demolished.
I partially fixed it and then did a run out.
Was it a BQ nearby or something? An IKEA or something? Andy Murphy also asked, put this to you, Emma. Would you get back to Tyndale Farm?
Yeah, I think I would actually. I think I'd go back to all of the places that we went to. I think there's a lot of questions I would like to sort of carry on with. All of them. I think it would be interesting to go back after sort of doing the whole of the season and get caught. Now we know what we caught. It's all together. Going on top of that. But there's not many places I won't go back. Mainly the ones that aren't haunted, like Delamere Forest and the Pitch Black that they take me to. But yeah, happily go back and try and build on what we got.
Oh, I can't wait to see your face in Series 4.
That's going to be great, is it?
Who's disappeared?
Sam's away.
Excuse me, I've lost Sam.
Do you think any of you could... Sorry, Scott.
Is Emma?
Aye, she's there.
Aye, she's jumped back. No, we lost Sam for a wee second and he's all started moving about one in the panels. I wonder who was moving. Emma, obviously, Tyndale Farm wasn't there back in 1612, you know, the original, you know, time with the witch tiles. Do you think it's residual energy that's there, maybe, that's built up over the years or whatever?
At Pendle in general?
Sorry, Will. What's up with the volume?
I don't know.
Tyndale Farm wouldn't have been there back in 1612. I know a lot of people do go there. You see, we're drawn to Tyndale Farm. You think it's just the energy that's there that maybe draws them there?
The whole of the area. I don't think you need to be in certain places to get certain things. I think the energy will follow you wherever you are. That energy will follow, and it's attracted to what we do as paranormal investigators. And I think you could be absolutely anywhere. If you were looking for it, then you would find it, because I do think that residual energy everywhere. I think it's the energy whole that you. I don't think you find them. I think you do.
Thanks for that, Doric. Charlie Rocks, you're up next. Here's your turn next. Here's one coming your way. Do you think that the Greystall follows them? Do you think the Greystall follows us about as an attachment? That's the Mandarin Jones.
No, I wouldn't say no.
Follows us around. I think we're always on guard now because we know what she can do at the evidence around her. So I think wherever we go, we're always on guard, just in case something does happen.
I think a lot of people have seen seasons country, and especially at Sadler's Farm, the voices that we got through sound very familiar to Grace. A lot of people have been to Saturn and, you know, they've experienced the evidence that we've caught from Grace. That did sound similar, and it did cross my mind at first. When we first heard that, and Dan kind of got emotional, and I thought as that come back, and it just triggered something to him. But I think Grace is definitely grounded at Saturn. I don't think she follows us or follows us around. So
negative night or like lots of things have happened. People have come back and they've said they've had dreams and weird things happening, but I don't think she actually follows it on any occasion.
Thanks for that, folks. Becky, would you ever extend the investigations to Lancaster Castle? Because she's not there. I think we're doing the right place. Andy Murphy's asking, would you expand the Pendle Hill investigation to Lancaster Castle?
Yeah, love Lancaster Castle. We've actually done Lancaster Castle before, and we've had some fantastic investigations there down in the Well Tower, which obviously has links to the Pendle Witches. It's where they were held. It's where old Demdike unfortunately did pass. We've had some really quite incredible public nights at Lancaster Castle. So I would more than happy go back to Lancaster and do a full investigation throughout the night there. It's quite, for anybody that's not done it, it's quite an unusual place because obviously it was used as a prison. So you've got the kind of the 1600s down in the Well Tower where it was used with the Pendle Witches, but then equally you've got some quite modern sections that were used to house either male or female prisoners, and they are the male block in particular is very, very active. You get some very, very strange noises going on there, like dragging sounds. And we've had some quite incredible activity, particularly underneath Lancaster Castle, which is an area that not many people have actually been investigated, and we were very lucky one night to get to go down there, and I say waves of activity because it literally was waves that was rushing through the corridors. It was an amazing night.
So I used to think that it all took place. When I first found out about Pendle, it was many years ago, and I think just because it's called Pendle Hill, I just automatically assumed that everything took place at Pendle Hill. You know, the arrest, the trials, the executions, and it was later on, once I started studying it, actually, that I realised that it wasn't the actual hill, it was all the kind of surrounding area going up to Lancaster Castle, where the trials were. Here's one for you, Danny, from Melanie. What's up? If you went back to Pendle, do you think the spirits would remember you and would they make things more intense?
No, I'm not sure they would remember who we are. I don't really believe in that kind of theory, apart from some really rare circumstances, such as the Grace doll, which got brought up earlier. But that is a really unique haunting that we're dealing with there. And also, we deal with another similar haunting in a place called Pennyland Hall, which is one of our public places. There's an entity there which is one of the most intelligent entities I've ever come across. I don't think if we were to go back to Pendle, they would think, oh, there's the Haunted Hunts team. No, I don't think it is that. I just think that I'm a massive believer that certain words or certain actions can trigger paranormal activity. And I think what we did at Pendle, and especially Sadler's Farm, we triggered something by going there and doing what we did.
Thanks for that, buddy. I know Shelley's got a couple of questions for you now as well, which she was dying to ask you.
Well, I was just going to ask there, if you had the chance to go back to Pendle Hill and do investigations, would you all manage to do like a lone vigil in maybe Sadler's Farm? Who would?
Charlie would, definitely.
I know Charlie would. I know Charlie would be up for that. What about the rest of the gang?
For a lone vigil.
think it's kind of like that dark element of the investigating, being on your own. You have less noise, it's more sensitive to yourself that you do. I think you feel when you're on as well, for yourself as well. But it can also play on you because you can play on your mind. You're on your own, your senses are heightened.
I know.
You could be on, and you could be into stuff. But yeah, no, I do like to wander off in the dark. These guys will tell you. They'll see me 1 minute, next minute I'm gone.
Oh, brilliant. I did it in the vaults, the Niddry Street vaults as well. Myself, brave, scared.
Scott's got a bit if we're out and about. He'll just disappear 1 minute, he's there, and the next minute he's away, and you're like, where's he going now?
But that's you're into I mean, we're big fans of Greyfriars, been there many, many times. And if you're always investigating something and it's pitch black, and sometimes you just get a wee idea pops into your head. Well, why get in there? And so, sometimes I do forget to tell people that I'm away. I just kind of disappear, and they'll say, where is he? But no, you do tend to wander off. Andy Murphy's got another question for Charlie. And I'm quite interested to see the answer to this because it involves number 17 when you were in the cellar. And I remember that I looked in your face, Danny, during this. Can you explain your feelings with White Witches and number 17? And do you think they were doing what they said they were or something else?
Charlie, you take this one.
Well, it was quite surreal, common day practicing witches that they were. Personally, behind the camera, when you look at them and they're muttering stuff that you can't quite hear, quite understand, don't know actually what they are doing. But I think it kind of also triggered something because the evidence we got after that, when they actually we got a word from that man, which that was just like, well, maybe they've done something that's brought up bad memories, that was sought in that area to be a bad thing with witches. So I think it did trigger something for us. It was a bit unusual. Mine and Danny's face behind the camera when we were looking at each other was like a bit surreal. Like, oh, what the fuck?
It was one of the most awkward moments.
From the camera, I had the camera filmed and I just went, and listen, Danny's just like, coming on here. But yeah, no, I think it did trigger stuff up in there. Like after they're down when they were doing it, I had a growl right next to the ear, and I mean it was like a full-on loud proper. And it was like, what was that? And then for them to leave and then we get that activity after, it proved that something did trigger something there. Like, but no, I think it was a bit surreal with them witches there. Like.
But it was funny. The camera was right on Danny. He was sitting, it was the back wall. You were sitting against Danny, the kind of in the middle. Danny, you were off. You'd have been off to right. If I'm correct, you'd have been off to the right hand side, and he just kind of gave you that, what's going on, sort of looking. I don't know if he tried to disguise it or not, but Danny, you did do a very good job.
Honestly, there is some really funny moments that happen, like because we're all so on edge, and it's just honestly there's some moments that happen, and because I get to watch it all back as well, and some people's faces are they crack me up. There's one with Emma in Delamere Forest, and she's absolutely cacking it at one point. It's so good.
Emma is quite fun. No offence, Emma. I mean this in a good way. Some of the expressions that you have are quite funny. I think if you do at Pendle when you were going for a walk, it was dark and you were moaning about your shoes and your jeans.
That was funny.
He went, oh, we need to get over by that wall. So I walk a lot faster than all of them. So I just took the lead, and then the next minute was like knee deep in a bog. He's like, oh, man, I could have gone that way. I was like, you think? No, I'm soaking wet.
I pick up little things, you know.
Oh, it's so
I was,
funny.
it was quite fun. I was quite impressed, you know, when you're filming, you're doing all professional, and you know, I'm sitting there watching, thinking, I know your jeans and trainers are absolutely soaking, you know, but you're being so professional about it, you know. But it is one of the times with Danny on, I asked him this, and he gave me his answer. So I'm going to ask the rest of these. I just who we lost, Becky.
Yes.
I just start with Charlie and Rox. Who would you say in the team was the most easily spooked? Now, I know what Danny said the last time when I asked him. So to see how the answers compare.
I think you could say Danny, because you do see a lot from Danny, but it all depends on the circumstance and where we are. We all, you know, the team is fantastic. We all get along, and I think that's the best thing about it. Each other. But if we're in a certain location, it affects us all differently. Like I've seen Bex and Emma, like at Saturn, when we've had stuff going off, they have refused to go in that room, and they refused for a while to work a certain item. So that affected them differently. Danny and certain Bex, they've been scared at Saturn himself. You know, I've seen some stuff in Saturn that, you know, I never thought I would see, and a few other guests seen it at the same time. And I think also for Ross,
it's when I'm on my own, I think, because every time I seem to get touched or I'm always on me, I always take to it. Don't get me wrong, I love what we get, but going on my own is no good for me. But
no.
We're done.
So who would you say is the most easily spooked, Emma?
I would say Danny.
Your chance to, you know, crash.
Danny, and that's purely for the fact that I can't help myself. Where every single time I go to, I literally can't help myself but to just go boo, and every time he screams like a little girl, and it's just entertaining not to do it. So I'm gonna have to. He's not paranormal, but for normal day-to-day life, it's got to be Danny.
Well, that was proven when Charlie jumped out and I'm dressed as a clown.
Funny. Too funny.
Please stop me.
I know he's funny. Would you say he's the most easily spooked?
I think that I don't know. Do you know what? I think I can be quite easily spooked. I'm quite rational minded, but you get me into certain places, then I have been known to freak out. Charlie was saying before about Emma and me in Tatton, and he's absolutely right. And I think that the whole team would agree that when you get me into Tatton with a certain one of our items, then I just go to pieces, and I can't be anywhere near it. My brain goes into overdrive, and I get very, very, very freaked out. So yeah, I think we all have different moments. Sometimes you just get something that comes over you, and it's like you get your big boy, your big girl pants on, and you're really brave, and you find yourself just wandering off. And then at other times, for no reason whatsoever, you can go to a location and something about it just affects you, and you can get really, really freaked out and jumpy, and it just depends. And I think when you're tired as well, that can have an impact on it.
Mm-hmm.
This is why season 4 has the format that it has got, because it's an experiment on putting all of us in the worst situations possible, and the fact that none of us know where we're going, what we're going to be doing. The crew have all the ideas, and we just don't have a clue.
Becky.
It's
No, good to see your face.
One of the most scariest things I think we've ever done.
I'm really looking forward to season 4 and once it's all filmed, and
I'm half excited, half dreading it.
It's a really good idea. You know, the way he's put it together this time. It's different, especially there's Becky going again, but you see Becky's face. So I'll give another question, some more for the chat for you folks. Obviously, you're on your 4th season now, and you've Codnor Farm as well. You know, so you've come a long way. since day one. You know, and I think your journey's been absolutely amazing. Would you say from day one, you know, your first ever episode to now has made you kind of stronger believers in the paranormal, or are you skeptical, or, you know, whoever wants to go first?
This is my favourite.
Becky. Sorry, Emma.
This is my favourite question, because I am very sceptical, and I am one of those that I have to witness it myself to say that, yes, that's paranormal. So if we're on sort of nights and stuff, public nights, and say a piece of equipment goes off, I'd be like, okay, well, if it's paranormal, I'll do it again. And I won't class it as paranormal until I do it again when I tell it. So I would say that I don't think it's made me more of a believer, because I always have been a believer, but just very skeptical minded that nothing is paranormal. Have an explanation for, but I think that it's expanded my investigation skills as a for other locations, and I think that everything that we've captured over all of the season just got better and better. And I think that if we were to watch it back from start to finish now, you will see how far personally ourselves have come on from the start to where we are now, and how much stronger we are as a team. I think that we work so well together on every basis, on paranormal basis, on a personal basis, and you know, we're friends, and I think that's a massive thing, the fact that we can have such a large team. Paranormal investigating, when you get into some locations, it's so overwhelming, and there's so many different feelings and emotions, and you know, things are going crazy, and sometimes the laugh is what you crave, and be able to have that outside of the series of investigating is so special. And I think that looking at the overall series, you can just see the bond we have as a team, and I think that shows in our investigations, because I think we bounce off each other to build activity, and I think that's a massive help.
Yeah, it does. It does really stick out. I've said to Randy before, you can see the bond that you have, you know, when you're doing your investigations, and the wee clips in between investigations that you do really work well together. You kind of know what each other's thinking, you know, and you kind of go with it. I dare say you bump heads at some point or another along the line, you know. But on the whole, and I think that speaks to your success as well, because you are so good together. You know, your success proves how good you are together, especially because you're on season 4. You won the silver award. You know, all comes together. So, what about you, Charlie and Ross? Has it increased your belief in the paranormal, or are you still kind of skeptical? Or?
I think this year for me at time has 100% made me not anything no more. I think what we've got there this year, with what we've got from the Great Stall and from the house, and we're trying lots of different experiments, so we don't just do one thing. We've bickered about what things are, we've tried different things, tried moving things, and it's always given us the answers that we've been looking for. So I think for me now, nothing could not make me believe no more at all.
For me, I'd say yes, I'm a believer. But I am still looking for that edge. I'm still looking for that something to just go whack. You know, get a slap in the face. But not there. It's something that I crave, and I think that's a bit wrong, because sometimes, like Roxanne said, we've had pickers as a team, we do, and I think sometimes I could be a bit big-headed and like, well, I want it more, I want it more, and I want it more, and if I don't get it, I get quite angry. It kind of like affects it, and I think some of the team have seen that as well, and they have said to me, like, well, you need to calm down and pull it back a bit. But that's just something that I want. That I'm looking for. Yeah, I still have
so much evidence over the years. There's always wanting that more creative when it doesn't happen.
I still have a skeptical mind. I mean, not everything is paranormal that you see or you hear. You know, you go to an old house, it could be creaky floorboards, creaky doors, windows. You can have a gap in the window and it'll show a whistling sound. doesn't mean that there's somebody in the house whistling. It could be a rat coming through the window. Do you know what I mean? You've got to have a scientific mind as well.
That's the other thing I really admire about you. There's too many ghost shows out there that they'll hear a stone drop and bang, it's paranormal, you know, or there'll be the window start blowing. But you guys always look outside the box. You look for what it could be, rather than what you know people want it to be. If that makes sense, you know. And what shows as well how genuine you are. You know, you aren't sort of drama kings and actors or anything like that go out, you know, with big bravado, and we're going to find ghosts for you and we're going to entertain you. You just go out normal and you get what you get. End of the day, I think that's part of your magic. It's just my opinion. I think that's part of your magic as well. The way you look outside the box, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think one of going back to what Em said there about like how good the chemistry is in the team. What I would love for people to see, and if we can get this on a behind the scenes episode, it would be great, is all the debates that go on, and not just the laughs, but also the heated debates that we all have, because we're all so into the paranormal and we have such good ideas individually that we all want them ideas to surface, and that's when it gets really tactical, really debated, and that is why we always push each other as a team to just go out there and do the best job possible.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean, Danny. Everybody's got their own idea and they want to get it out and try this and what. I would love to see some of your heated debates. I don't think I've ever seen you fell out. I think you should, just do an episode of falling out, basically. All of these clips together. All these points fall out and whatever you say. I'll make up a title for you. I don't mind. Make 60 minutes. What were you, Becky? Has it increased your belief in the paranormal, or are you all 50-50? Or?
No, I think I've probably become more open-minded. So I don't, I did start out very, very skeptical, and I think I still maintain quite a rational mind in most places that we investigate. But I'm definitely more open-minded now than what I was when I started, because the evidence has opened my mind up. That is, you can't debate against some of the evidence that we've managed to capture, and that has changed my way of thinking in some ways. What I've always said is that I will always remain skeptical of people, unfortunately. So I am one of these people that I have to experience it for myself. I think unfortunately in the paranormal industry there are fakeries. There are people who do like to pull the wool over people's eyes. So there's a part of me that will always be skeptical of other people's evidence, simply because, not that I'm saying it's not real or that they've not captured something themselves, but I haven't personally experienced it. And I am one of those people who, unfortunately, I have to be there and I have to feel it or hear it or see it for myself.
No, I totally get that. Unfortunately, to me, and this is just my opinion again, the paranormal is one of these fields where there's too many doors for, fakers and, people just want to make a couple of pound here and there, to come in and say, well, I've took a picture of a ghost or something. And, unfortunately, it's the nature of the paranormal. But so I'm a big believer in the paranormal, obviously, so same as Sarah, Sam and Shelley, but you do have to have that other side to you. You do have to have that debunk mind as well, all the time. I think that's really, really important. But we got a good question from John M. for you. Once it pops up, 2 seconds.
There we go.
I don't know who wants to take that one.
Go on, Dan.
Sorry, I'm being stupid here. When it seems concerned enough to leave an investigation, what is it you're concerned about exactly, or something like that? Yeah, you know, I think I'll go back to what Charlie and Rock said, where I do believe we're more paranoid or on edge now since what has happened at Tatton. I think Tatton and the Greystall and Bob have really changed us as investigators. It's certainly made us stronger, but it has made us more on edge, I think. And when we go, because we've witnessed such dark activity in Tatton, that is really creepy. And again, Poole Park Asylum, I'll go back to that as well, because that was, for me, really, really dark. I do feel like we go into locations now, and if things do start to get a bit out of hand, we have each other's interest at heart, and we don't want to get sucked into that dark activity that is happening, which is why I really enjoyed filming Series 2 in Chester, because it got us away from all that, and it was going back to the type of hauntings that I love, which is, you know, old Tudor style buildings and residual energy and things like that. I do feel like we deal with a lot of dark stuff, but that is simply because we have Tatton Old Hall and the Haunted Collection. But yeah, you know, if I was to see Beck or Emma or Rox, not so much Charlie, because I know Charlie he wants to push himself to get that real hardcore evidence. But if I was to see Emma, Bex or Rox really have a horrible moment happen to them, I'd be deeply concerned, and I'd want to get them out straight away. And I think the only time I have seen that happen is at Tatton, and also, Charlie, what happened to you on the staircase at Poole Park.
I don't know when. I think I kind of lost it there, didn't I? I didn't know until I looked back at the footage how concerned these guys were when you could see him, like, you know, Dan's like, there's something wrong with him, he's not right. But I just wanted myself then to go, and I was just trying to antagonize it. And then when we got that evidence, like, the pain I had inside was like somebody was just stabbing me in the side of the stomach. And then to get that EVP when it said, "You can't hurt me," and it goes, "I just have done." That, for me, just clarified how dark that place was.
And this is another thing about Series 4 as well. And I've spoke to the crew and said to them, you have got to be careful with what you are sending us into, because I know that it's an experiment based on fear, but I know what type of thing they'll do to us because they're cruel. They will send us into horrible, horrible situations when we're on our own. And I know for a fact it will happen.
Fantastic.
But at the same time, if something happens to one of us when we're on our own, and the rest of the team are in different areas, or the crew are in a base room or whatever, you know, it can get quite dangerous. And I have no idea what kind of locations we're going to be sent to, whether it's going to be locations like Series 1 or it's going to be locations like Series 2, where we just don't know where we're going.
It does sound really, really frightening, season 4. I can't wait for it to come out, because it's a whole kind of different format, you know, to what you have done before. Is there anywhere that you would refuse to go?
No.
Just
No. I think you have to give everywhere that you can an investigation. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, there's loads of paranormal TV shows out there, and people, like, you know, on YouTube now, they go to these locations and they get things and they don't get things. If you don't get something, it's not to say that it's not haunted. It's just that it might be at certain times, whatever, that you don't get it. But then there can also be things like we've mentioned before, the house being old, anything. And if somebody's really, really heightened up, it can be really haunted and scary for them. So I think you have to give every location that opportunity to go in with a rational mind and do your investigation like we were. together, great. We know then if we've got evidence, we know we've captured evidence the way we work. We know, do you know what I mean? Because we've all got that same mindset when we investigate. So I think you have to give every location a go first before discussing.
I can't wait. But I'm going to always. I know these are busy people. I've just one more question for you before I wind it up, folks. I asked Danny this as well. It's something that's always fascinated me about Pendle. I'll start with Emma. Do you think that Alice Nutter is buried in Newchurch? It's something that's always stuck in my mind. This one question, and I always like to ask everybody.
My opinion, I would say yes, and purely for the fact of how uneasy the people around there make you feel which is, you go to you speak to many people who've been to Pendle and they find the same issue. As soon if you go in there and go for your walks, because obviously the scenery up there is fantastic, and everyone's dead happy, and are you okay? And as soon as you find out that belong to some sort of paranormal group and you're looking into the witchcraft and the witch trials and everything like that, and people won't speak to you, they'll sort of walk past you, and I think that there's got something that's maybe not told or that's hidden. We still yet to find out. I would say that she is, but whether that will actually ever be, come out as the truth, who knows?
Who knows? What are you chatting, Rocks? Excuse me.
I don't think she is, personally, but I think if there was enough evidence, yes, she was there, because obviously we went to the churchyard. I think it's one of those things that, because it's not documented, nobody's ever going to know, unfortunately. But what do you reckon?
Is she or isn't she? It's just one of those things that could be a story that's been told over time and it's not has been buried there, and you've just put a slab there and said, this is where she's laid. But in fact, who knows? Unless that person, well, it's years ago now, like Fox says, documented that it comes forward that she is actually buried there, I don't think anybody will ever know.
Mm-hmm.
For you, Becky?
I'm a bit on the fence because I always think that stories stem from truth somewhere. But one of the big questions that I've always had about the grave is if she was really tried as a witch, and if she was found guilty, then they would not have allowed a witch to have been buried on sacred ground. That is quite an important fact, and obviously we spoke to Simon Entwistle during the production, and when we did the interviews with him, and we spoke to him about it, and we debated a little bit, and the only thing we can think of is that because she came from money, she came from a quite a wealthy family, is that somehow money was exchanged, and that allowed her to be buried in that graveyard. But we don't know. That the long and short of it is we don't know, and we're probably not going to know. So you could come down on either side of it. There's probably arguments for and against.
Yeah, I know. It's something that's always, I don't know why, it's just always fascinating actually there. Andy Murray says, what about Roger Noel? Is it true he's buried in the Newchurch graveyard? Now, I seen Simon doing a documentary on, and he showed us the grave of Roger Noel. I can't remember where it was. Is he buried in the Newchurch graveyard?
Roger Noel?
Yeah.
There are documents from his son that have recently been sort of announced out there into the public, and there is something in the documents, I can't actually think right now what it is, that give the sort of identity as to what happened around that. But I don't think he's buried in Newchurch graveyard. No, I think he's buried in one of these small little hamlets around near there.
I'm going to ask Simon about it, because I do remember watching one of Simon's documentary, what Tales from the Grave it was called. and part of that was Roger Knowles' grave. That'll annoy me now. That'll annoy me. Last question, guys. Promise. Season 5. He's coming to Scotland.
Love to.
Yeah.
What's that?
I would love to do Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Edinburgh is good.
That's amazing.
Love to.
I think we're at the stage now where we get so many messages, don't we, about who wants us to go where. Literally, it's happening on a weekly basis that people just want us to go everywhere. The most recent one is loads of people want us to go down to Kent. At the end of the day, I've always said, and the guys have always said, if it makes sense, we'll do it.
Yeah, definitely. But you definitely need to do Edinburgh. Defo.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Great France, 4-7.
I'm sure it'll happen one day.
You know, keep it. Oh, by the way, Danny, we're still wearing the t-shirts. You know
Good man.
I know the camera's kind of out of whack tonight, but we're still wearing them. As I said the last time, they're not ending up in a cupboard. Yeah, you know, and we're going to keep wearing them. So I'm going to wind up here. I know these are very busy, so you know, if I could just hold on to these for a wee second or two after we come off, if that's all right, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you very much indeed for doing us the honour of coming in the entire, as I said at the start.
guys.
I never thought we would capture you all in the one place, and it's been amazing for us. And thanks to everybody in the chat for coming in and listen. I hope you enjoyed meeting the team and for all your questions. We'll be back on Wednesday night or Thursday night with Patty Negri and Charlotte Underwood, the first ever joint live with two meetings from either side of the pond. So we'll see you then. So thanks again, Danny, Charlie, Rox, Emma, and Becky.
Thanks,
absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thanks very much.